Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out. It's episode 367. Hope you're all doing great today as we are winding down October. It may be getting a bit brisk out there wherever you're tuning into this program. Heading into the pre-holiday shopping season like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, of course, election season. It's going to be a crazy November, no doubt, but just stay safe out there. If you're new to Tech It Out, as the announcer said, my goal is to break down geek speak into street speak. Yes, I do try to showcase how technology can enhance and enrich your life personally and professionally, but I try to do it all in plain English. And I always ask my guests to do the same. You shouldn't need a geek to English dictionary to tune in. Speaking of my guests, we have a great show planned for you today. We'll first hear from celebrated photographer Alen Palander about how he uses a laptop with AI to fix up his photos. And you could do the same with built-in tools that many computers now have. Also on the show, NETGEAR, a leading networking company, they're going to be joining us to chat about scams and what generation may be more vulnerable over others. The answer might just surprise you. Also on the program today, we're going to hear what's new in golf simulations with TruGolf. I know many of my listeners will enjoy that. And at the end of the show, I'll chat about how to protect your packages ahead of online shopping over Black Friday and Cyber Monday. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by Intel Core Ultra PCs, Series 2, now available. I'll tell you more about that shortly, but let's officially kick off the new show with our first interview. Not all laptops are created equal. The LG Gram family of Windows devices, for example, are not only thin and light, hence the name LG Gram, but they also have great style and long battery life, lots of power and smarts with the new AI tools baked into them. They're also ideal for creative types. And so who better to have on the show to talk about LG Gram and the LG Gram Pro line than Alen Palander, creative director of Palander Studios and renowned photographer. Palander Studios, by the way, has a portfolio spanning luxury travel, motorsports, and the automotive sector. Welcome to the show, Alen. Good to chat with you.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. Before we talk tech, I thought I had a cool job, by the way, Alen. But wow, you get to spend a good portion of the year touring with F1. Is that right? Can you give us a little bit more background on what you do and how technology comes into play here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the things that I hate at the dinner table. Everyone asks me, what do you do for work? And I'm always last to answer because I don't want to make anyone feel bad. But my journey actually began a long time ago in urban design and architecture design. So kind of that opened the segue for the visual arts world for me. Over time, my passion kind of evolved and I transitioned into photography and creative direction. Today, I am the creative director and owner of Palander Studios. It's a production company where I get to work on some really exciting global projects. And one of them happens to be with Formula One. So there's different sponsors and different agents in which I participate in different productions with. Technology has been an integral part of my work, whether it's using high-end cameras, drones, and unique perspectives. AI is kind of the biggest tool for post-production right now for us. It helps bring a creative vision to life and all the great things that we needed to utilize to make things look incredible.
You know, interesting because I think a lot of people think AI replaces the creative process, but you're finding ways to leverage it. So you are turning to artificial intelligence, Alen, as part of your creative process?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, AI has become a very powerful tool in my creative process over the years. The magic of AI technology is truly its ability to work and push creative boundaries while really allowing us to enhance visual storytelling. Lately, it's been allowing us to eliminate the guesswork by automating, analyzing, and scaling projects with ease. This is something that we never had to our discretion before, so it definitely helps amplify our workload. While I embrace this technology, I am trying to always be as authentic as possible because that is the core of my work. Especially for me right now, AI is it's there to help enhance the creativity. It's not there to
Right.
replace it. One of my favorite AI-driven tools is actually AI-powered photo organizing. So anyone who's in the world of photography, this is incredibly useful for you. It's also on the LG Gram Pro. It's called the Gram Link. The feature allows me and anyone to automatically categorize photos based on time, location, and even 38 different themes. It's a great way to stay organized and streamline my workflow. It also allows me to really focus on aspects of each of my projects.
So it's a tool in your arsenal, AI. Or to stick with our theme, when it comes to visual arts, it's kind of like part of the palette that you would paint a canvas with. AI is just one extra thing that you're leveraging, which I really like. With that in mind, Alen, if I came to see you on set, which I would love to, what technology would you typically have with you on site? You alluded to an LG Gram laptop, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. On shoot, I mean, technology is essential. Aside from my camera gear, gimbal, stabilizers, hard drives, you name it, there's one piece of gear that I always find to be the most important, which is the LG Gram Pro laptop, because it's super lightweight, it's portable. So whether I'm on shoot or back in the studio working on post-production, it becomes like my arm's reach for doing things. Tech plays a significant role in what we do and how far we can push the creative envelope. So it's very important to have that utility. Having the right tools is also how I can rely on, like, when things go wrong and we can fix them on site. The LG Gram's sharp visual display and long-lasting battery, which is up to 21 hours, is an incredibly useful feature for long days on location. Like right now, I'm in Austin, Texas, so this is going to be very useful for me.
I can relate to that. Safe travels, by the way. And speaking of which, Alen, I like that these LG Gram Pro laptops have AI on device, meaning with like the Intel Core Ultra processor, it can handle those AI workloads without an internet connection if you don't have one for many of those tasks. So they can generate AI on the laptop itself, not needing the cloud. So do you find that critical to your workflow?
Definitely. The Intel Core Ultra processor, specifically in the LG Gram Pro, is a game changer, especially for my team and I, when it comes to not only our workflow, but also just handling AI workloads and heavy duty tasks like editing video footage, which I can imagine is very difficult. The ability to quickly generate AI images or even manage large production files without needing a constant network connection is also critical when you're working on tight deadlines and when you're in remote locations. Another convenience is the feature that this laptop can connect to as many as 10 devices at once. So when I'm with my entire team, it's super helpful because we can coordinate production shoots, send images, videos, and documents very seamlessly through being able to transfer these items.
Alen, I know the LG Gram Pro laptop family comes in two flavors, if you will. One is a regular clamshell laptop with or without a touchscreen, but the other one is a convertible where the screen bends back on a 360-degree hinge. And I know a lot of artists, a lot of digital artists like that, because they can use their fingertip or a stylus pen to draw like in tablet mode, on the screen itself. Do you have a preference?
I do, and I have to say I really love the way that you just described it. With over 4,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, it really provides like incredible precision for my creative work. So if I'm ever using Photoshop or really need to get into detail about what I need to focus on, then yes, I will definitely have it in the stylus mode.
We are chatting with Alen Palander, creative director of Palander Studios, and he's a renowned photographer, of course, specializes in a few sectors, including the automotive one. Spends a good time of his year traveling with Formula One racing. We've caught up with him in Austin, Texas right now. Talked about the CPU, which is the Intel Core Ultra processor. That also includes what's called an NPU, or a neural processing unit, to handle a lot of those AI tasks. But laptops also have a GPU for graphics performance. No doubt that's important as you're rendering images on your device. How important is this feature, for example, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 built into the LG Gram Pro? How important is that for you?
The NVIDIA GPU, I won't say the entire word because it takes a long time, but it's a crucial feature, especially for anyone that's working with graphic heavy content like us. We're always doing video editing and have visual effects running in the background. So Premiere Pro, Final Cut, DaVinci, you name it, we have the software kind of always operating in the back end. These laptops truly breathe life into the creative projects that we're working on. They offer stunning, smooth visuals. Also, another key feature that we've really noticed, and that's super important to us, is the varying refresh rates that really ensure fluid visuals that can be optimized to suit the specific needs of each project. So whether it's photography, filmmaking, or animation, it's a fantastic feature for really elevating the creative experience.
Yeah. Funny, I was just explaining this the other night to my friends, the difference between 60, 120, and 240 frames per second, and what a refresh rate is, and response times, and what that means in plain English. So that's great. I can see the appeal for you, for sure. And before we wrap up, I just want to circle back to the AI part for a moment. As part of the creative process, what does this mean for you?
So it has a big impact, both personally and professionally. It helps me really streamline and enhance the creative process. It eliminates many of these repetitive tasks. So it's whether I'm organizing large sets of photos, enhancing image quality, or even just suggesting edits based on patterns. AI has brought a new level of efficiency and precision to my work. That balance between automation and creativity is something I find incredibly exciting.
I love, just as a techie, that the computer is, as I'm paraphrasing here, but it seems to be as important as, or at least up there with your photography skills. Like a lot of the magic is after those images are captured, you know, whether you're using AI or you're organizing those photos and touching them up manually or with some AI help. I just find it fascinating that once the photo shoot is done, a lot of the work is still to be done. Thanks so much for your time, Alen. It really was a pleasure chatting with you and learning more about what you do and how you're using AI and the LG Gram Pro laptops. What's the best place to learn more about LG Gram Pro?
For more information on the full lineup of LG Gram laptops, you can visit lg.com.
lg.com. Thank you so much for your time. Once again, Alen, great to chat with you. Safe travels.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mark.
Coming up after this short break, we're going to catch up with NETGEAR, a leading networking company, to talk about the results of a new survey that zeroes in on scams and who is most vulnerable. Stick with us. More Tech It Out coming right up after this.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. If you're in the market for a new PC, there's never been a more exciting time. Thanks to extremely powerful devices infused with AI, plus longer battery life than we've ever seen before, countless designs like touch and convertibles that can turn a laptop into a tablet by simply bending it. There's stunning OLED displays and super thin and light form factors. As usual, Intel is leading the charge. Now with brand new Intel Core Ultra PCs Series 2 laptops that are powering a new generation of portable PCs across more than 20 computer manufacturers. They can deliver much more performance, up to 80% more for gaming compared to last year's machines. Yet, amazingly, consume up to 50% less power to do so. This translates to battery life of more than 20 hours with some applications. By fusing a CPU with a GPU for graphics and a new NPU or neural processing unit, these Intel-powered Windows 11 laptops are capable of delivering better AI experiences through Copilot Plus, including up to 4 times faster image generation compared to last year. Now available, these new Intel Core Ultra Series 2 laptops are branded with a 200V series naming convention to indicate it's a Series 2 model. Intel.com has more. That's Intel.com. Does our age dictate how we feel or act about cybersecurity? A recent survey commissioned by NETGEAR, a leading networking company, found that fewer Gen Z survey respondents say personal data being stolen is a top security concern when compared to baby boomers, who cite it to be a much bigger concern. Joining us to discuss the results of this finding and what we can all do about it, whether we're born in the 40s or 90s or somewhere in between, we're joined by Poppy Simpson, Product Marketing Manager for NETGEAR Armor. Good to chat with you, Poppy. Thanks for your time today.
Nice to be here, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Before we talk about the survey that you commissioned recently, please tell us a bit about the brand NETGEAR and NETGEAR Armor as well.
For sure. So NETGEAR was founded and is based in the USA. Since 1996, it's been kind of pioneering advanced networking technologies, and that's for homes, for businesses, and, for service providers around the world. We rely every day on Wi-Fi to stream our entertainment, to power our work, manage our smart home, connect with family and friends, you name it, we're doing it online. And that means that millions of people count on NETGEAR, right, to connect their digital lives at home and on the go. So yeah, we have a broad range of award-winning high-performance products, routers, mesh systems, mobile hotspots, and really they're all designed to kind of simplify and improve people's lives.
All right. And just to be clear, of course, routers will turn the wireless signal from your modem, from your internet service provider, into a wireless one. So everybody can access the internet without having to be plugged into it at home or in an office environment, what have you. A mesh system is often it's a multi-room solution. It covers a wider area where you put these little pucks or access points plugged into the wall. They all have a wireless handshake back to the router. So it blankets the entire home with coverage. Great for older homes and larger homes. Older when the walls are maybe concrete, there could be some wireless issues. And then mobile hotspots are for those on the go, or if you have a cottage, a cabin, a summer home, it often leverages cellular technology. So it's Wi-Fi where you are. So you join as if you would join any wireless network, but then it uses cellular at that point to get online. So NETGEAR has a breadth of products there. And then Armor, is that your security brand or sub-brand?
Right. So every NETGEAR router or mesh system comes secure out of the box. And we put a very, very high priority on security. But for an extra layer of kind of insurance, we also have the NETGEAR Armor service. It is scanning your devices constantly in the background to make sure that there are no vulnerabilities. That includes your IoT devices at home. It's also got advanced threat protection. So it's looking for phishing, for malware, for ransomware, etc. And it has some VPN capabilities as well, depending on what tier of service you choose.
IoT, of course, is short for Internet of Things. It could be just any little device like your smartwatch or a deadbolt lock on your door that's got Wi-Fi, anything that uses the internet. And then, of course, VPN, virtual private network, which is software that can help you remain anonymous while you're browsing online. It masks your location, so fewer targeted ads and other organizations that want to track your whereabouts and monitor what you're doing. So I always recommend using a VPN for sure. Without further ado, I want to get into the topic of this study that looks at security concerns across different age groups, as I hinted at off the top. What was the goal of that study? To see if there were differences between Gen Z and boomers, or that was just a discovery out of that survey?
I think that was a surprising, for me at least, discovery out of that survey. I think NETGEAR's goal always is to help people connect securely and privately and quickly, right? And so in this instance, we wanted to help people understand the top threats and know kind of what steps they can take to protect their home network from attacks. And to do that, we wanted to understand how consumers were thinking about this kind of ever-evolving cybersecurity landscape, to learn about how they use smart technology in their homes. It is no secret that our lives are powered now by smart technology. I mentioned IoT, the Internet of Things. We've got, smartphones, smartwatches, smart TVs. I mean, we've even got smart grills and mirrors, glasses, it's everywhere. Right. And so with this influx of internet-connected devices, they make our lives easier in many ways. They're innovative, but they also come with rising threats. Right? They're vulnerable to cyber attacks. In fact, I think a home network on average, sees about 10 attacks every 24 hours.
Wow.
And so we really wanted to take kind of consumer pulse on how they're thinking about it and the kind of habits that they've developed to keep themselves secure.
So we are going to dive into those key findings with all this in mind when we return on Tech It Out. I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. We are chatting with Poppy Simpson, Product Marketing Manager for NETGEAR and NETGEAR Armor. So when we return, more on those survey results. If you want to share this interview, by the way, with anyone, you can simply Google Tech It Out and my name, Mark Saltzman, and you'll find the podcast version to share. All right, stick with us. We'll be right back.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. We're chatting with Poppy Simpson from NETGEAR Armor about a study they commissioned that compares Gen Z with baby boomers tied to scams. All right, so with that in mind, what were some of the key findings, age-related or otherwise?
So I'll start, with the kind of the broad findings. We found that a lot of consumers, 82% of them are confident that their home network is secure from external threats. 30% of them, so nearly 1/3, report that cyber attacks against their home networks are not common. common. But those who are sadly impacted by a cyber attack, the consequences really do have kind of severe or great impact. So we found that 10% got locked out of their home network or lost access to their devices due to a breach. And 10% of people reported that they'd had up to $5,000 stolen as part of a cybersecurity breach. So, it can have, pretty severe consequences. Of those, I think that nearly 1 in 5 had their personal data or their identity stolen.
And that's those who admitted it, right? There's probably even a greater number of people who were too embarrassed to report it.
Indeed. I think, that's one of there are so many emerging threats. There's ransomware, there's phishing, there's malware. The way that people are extorted or exploited online varies greatly. And as you said, there is sometimes this element of shame that means that people don't speak up.
Were you surprised by any of these results, Poppy? Poppy Simpson's our guest, product marketing manager for NETGEAR Armor. Did anything make you shake your head at the results?
I was surprised to see that quite a lot of people are not taking, relatively simple steps to protect themselves online. So let me give you an example. 65% of the consumers that we spoke to use the same password across 2 or more accounts, but 27% of them use the same password across 6 or more accounts.
Wow.
So there are these kind of low effort, high impact ways you can protect yourselves. Password management is one of them. So I was surprised to see that more people weren't taking that seriously. And I was also surprised by this sort of generational breakdown that you alluded to. At the top of the piece, Gen Z respondents are a little more relaxed, shall we say, than baby boomers about, protecting themselves online. Maybe that's to do with the way that they've grown up so online. And there's a sort of fait accompli approach, but 74% of Gen Z respondents had the same password across 2 accounts compared to 58% of baby boomers. I'm always helping my mum online. I don't understand how she's doing that.
I love that. I'm not surprised by it, but a little disappointed how many people are resharing your passwords, because even if it's a great password, it's 20 characters long and uppercase and lowercase and letters and numbers and symbols. If you use that same password for all your online accounts, there's a breach which you had nothing to do with. Then now the bad guys, the nefarious types out there on the dark web have access to all of your accounts if you have the same password for everything. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Password management is a relatively simple kind of piece of security hygiene that you can implement.
Right. Password managers are a good idea. If it's a trusted one, there's a lot of good ones out there. With that in mind, how can we all better protect our data? Any takeaways before we wrap up?
I mentioned that there are these kind of low effort, high impact ways you can protect yourself. Of course, we've spoken about it, setting a strong password, using a password manager, as you mentioned. In fact, NETGEAR Armor is bringing one out as part of its set of features. Oh, cool. You can also ensure that the firmware on your router or your devices is up to date. So firmware is kind of what keeps the internal hardware of your device running smoothly, including fixing or patching issues that could be a way for a hacker to get in. And so companies, including NETGEAR, will push out firmware updates to address any potential kind of known or emerging threats. But making sure that firmware is up to date is an important part of it.
Not all router companies do that as well as NETGEAR, where they don't push a notification to a user to say, hey, you should update the software. We found some new vulnerabilities that are patched up if you download this. I find that NETGEAR is really good for that.
And we take that incredibly seriously. So as I said already, every router comes kind of secure out of the box, but we also are always looking for ways to improve it, right? So we are at the moment rolling out on all future routers something that we call advanced router protection. And that means that it delivers security patches faster than ever to protect people at that router level, even before it gets to the network, right? That you're being protected. We mentioned NETGEAR Armor as well. So if you want that additional peace of mind, another layer of protection, having those devices scanned, that's a great solution for kind of additional peace of mind. So NETGEAR Armor also comes with VPN, virtual private network. And that's one way of encrypting kind of your internet traffic, right? Keeping yourself private. Now, that's good for malicious threats that we've discussed, but it's also good just on a personal privacy level, right? Protecting your sensitive data, not showing your IP address, stopping people from tracking your activity and then sending you kind of annoying ads or selling on your data.
I like to say a VPN is kind of like if you don't have a VPN and you're driving on the freeway, it's like overhead, like helicopters can see where you're going on the super information highway, if you will. But a VPN is like you're in a tunnel underneath the highway. You're still going to get to where you're going, but you're underneath the freeway. You know what I mean? That's kind of my silly analogy.
I love that analogy.
Thank you. This is a bit off topic, but since we've got you on the line, Poppy, if you can just take a moment, I'd love for you to talk about buying a new router for those in the market for one. Let's say the connection's slow or they're adding way more devices on it. They need an update. How do you decide?
So NETGEAR really has a great lineup of high performance products, and there's something for everyone depending on budget and the size of your home.
If you're a gamer or not.
If you're a gamer or not, if you whatever your home network is, right, we've got something for you. So if you're in a small apartment or a condo, you might be interested in our newest Nighthawk Wi-Fi 7 routers, something like the RS200 or the RS300. If you're in a larger home with the fastest internet speeds available, you may want to look at the Orbi 970 or the 770 Wi-Fi 7 mesh systems. And those are going to get you blazing fast speeds, but really, really kind of comprehensive coverage across a larger space. And then we've got the world's first Wi-Fi 7 5G mobile hotspot, the M7 Pro, AT&T. It's great for travel lovers who want that secure, fast Wi-Fi on the go.
All right. And then netgear.com for more. Is that the best URL you'd recommend?
I would. Netgear.com.
Netgear.com. Thanks so much for carving out some time to chat, especially during October, which is Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Thank you so much.
As you just heard with Netgear, we cover cybersecurity a lot on Tech It Out and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age. One part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out. They've made significant investments in fraud prevention over the past few years, as much as $10 billion. That's billion with a B, all to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Visa.com/security has more. That's Visa.com/security. When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to get our golf game on and learn what's new in simulators. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. Golf simulators may not be new. They date back to the 70s, in fact, but they're getting really advanced. Led by TruGolf's simulators that provide crystal clear visuals, virtually transporting users to locations around the world, while helping players improve their game, of course. Joining us to chat about how AI, artificial intelligence, is changing the game, we're joined by Dr. Nico Darras. He's TruGolf's Director of Golf, here to discuss the latest advancements in golf simulators. Welcome to the program, Dr. Darras. Good to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here to talk about some golf.
Okay, excellent. Well, why don't we swing right into it? How has technology impacted golf?
So technology has absolutely changed the way that we interact with the game, the way that I as a coach work with players, and the way that I as a player am able to practice 365 days a year. Doesn't matter if there's a foot of snow on the ground, it's raining outside. I am able to get consistent work in with what's most important, and I think we're really going to dig into this today. A product that I trust, that the ball is going where I believe it's going to. So obviously the physics in the game, now we're able to match what real life sensation players.
All right. So obviously we're talking golf simulations that, as you hinted at, can play all year round, tweak your game. Are these for the home, or are these places that you go to for a bigger or say more professional experience?
Both. So players have these in their homes. There's absolutely gorgeous build outs. I've seen some that are as advanced as commercial spaces, but you really only need a net at the lowest common denominator. So whether you want to build a system that we have at TruGolf that just drops down right next to the player and you can see it, or you want a 4K screen with a gaming computer and a 15-foot net, whatever it is that you want, we can provide for you.
All right. So with that in mind, when it comes to the latest improvements in golf simulation, you are suggesting that it's both in the home as well as commercial locations. Do you need a large space if you are doing this in your home? I mean, high ceilings, that kind of thing?
So you need a bit of, you can't do it on a 9-foot ceiling, but I know that our install techs are incredible at being able to make it work in small spaces. So if you have a basement, if you have a garage, typically we can find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
The exact dimensions will obviously depend upon your space and what kind of room you have.
Sure. I can see how a garage would be ideal. And are we always talking about a physical ball, or are there simulations that are all virtual, obviously with the exception of the club?
So TruGolf actually began as a video game company with Microsoft in the 80s. But today, this is actually a physical ball being struck by a player, and then the physics engine inside of the game will calculate. And very similar to a video game, but you, the player, you are hitting a physical ball into a screen or net.
Fair, because, entertainment aside, if it's designed to help improve your swing, then I can't see how you can do this without actually hitting a real ball. Before we talk about AI, something I hinted at off the top and how that may be changing the game, how are professional golf trainers using simulators to train their athletes?
So the most important thing as a coach is that we no longer have to guess. In the olden days, you'd stand on the driving range and a player would hit a ball and we'd say, I bet that one went about 175 yards.
Right.
Well, today we don't have to guess. We know the exact dynamics of why the ball went there and then exactly how far it went with the spin, the dynamic loft, all these sorts of amazing features that the TruGolf simulators are able to provide coaches. So as a learning tool for both the player and the coach, this is second to none as the opportunities are available.
How do you simulate things like weather conditions, like wind, which obviously can significantly impact your game on the fairway?
TruGolf's new Apex software is able to simulate any sort of conditions in the world. So if you want to hit balls in a gale-force hurricane, I live in Florida, we just had a hurricane. If you want to be in 40-mile-an-hour winds and rain, you can do that. I don't know why you would, but you could. If you wanted to have a perfect Scottsdale 85-degree day where there's no wind and you're playing in a dome, you can simulate that as well. So the ability to control the weather is so much fun and an amazing learning opportunity for the player to understand what happens in different sorts of conditions.
We are chatting with Dr. Nico Darras. He is the Director of Golf at TruGolf. That's spelled TruGolf. We are chatting about golf simulators and how they're evolving, especially with the advent of AI, artificial intelligence.
AI has absolutely revolutionized the way that we are able to, A, interpret data, B, gather large swaths of data. And then TruGolf has an amazing partnership with IBM Watson that we're leveraging a voice caddy so that it's not only able to help you, but say you have some buddies over and you just want to let the simulator absolutely roast your slice, it can and it will. And let me tell you, some of the jokes in there are pretty funny. I do have to say, it can definitely cut to the core when you hit one in the water, and the AI can come up with some pretty quick jokes.
Yeah, I know IBM's Watson division has been very involved in sports over the past couple of decades, in fact, not just years. Certainly golf is no exception. Data is bliss, not ignorance is bliss. And so, snarky comments aside, obviously this is designed to help improve your swing and then make that transferable to when you're actually playing a real round of golf. It's not just entertainment, in other words.
It's both fun and it's an amazing learning tool that the best players in the world are able to use. So whether you're a 7-year-old beginner, whether you're 70 years old or you're a tour pro, you're able to get something different out of the technology. And I think that's probably the most exciting part.
Look, it's not golden tee golf here with a trackball. You're actually you're actually moving the hips, like I was going to make an Adam Sandler joke in there or Bob Barker. It's fun, but it's got some real world applications. So Dr. Darras, how do we get going?
So there are TruGolf franchises popping up all over the country. There's probably one right near you. Check out TruGolf.com. That's TRUGolf.com.
All right, Dr. Darras, thanks so much for your time. TRUGolf.com.
Oh, cheers. Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
For the remaining minutes of this show, I thought I would answer some questions that I received from listeners and readers of my articles, actually, about protecting packages for those who like to shop online, but they're not at home to receive things that they order. And so here are 4 ways to protect yourself. One is, I guess, more of a deterrent, perhaps, and that's a video doorbell, right? You can talk with somebody. They don't know that you're not inside. You can chat with them through your phone, even when you're not there. Tell them where to leave the package. You have video evidence in case of someone stealing your packages. Of course, it's not going to stop them, but you'll have video evidence. So, a Ring doorbell or a Google Nest doorbell is a good idea. A second solution is to allow for in-garage access through Amazon. If you're an Amazon Prime member, it's called Amazon Key in-Garage Delivery. It allows a vetted courier, so a background check is required, to open your garage, place the packages inside, then close it again. It works with Chamberlain's MyQ connected smart garages or other compatible smart garages. You simply select Key Delivery at checkout, and you'll get a notification upon arrival, along with an option to watch the delivery if you like. If you've got a camera, it's not necessary and it's not included. And by the way, you don't have to share your key code to your garage. They scan the package and it automatically opens, which is very cool. A third way to protect your packages from porch pirates is to consider a lockbox. These are basically your own personal mailbox. One company like Danby, D-A-N-B-Y, they've got their Parcel Guard products, which look like little mailboxes. Some are smart, meaning they've got a camera and they're connected to your Wi-Fi, and it'll push a notification to you when something was delivered. Other times it's just a lockbox, right? You come home, you've got a mechanical key, you open it and you retrieve your parcels. And then one more solution is to basically have your packages delivered somewhere else. If you work in an office, ask your boss if it's okay to have the packages delivered there, or to a family member's home, or a neighbor's house. Or the USPS offers a range of PO boxes as well to hold your mail and packages safely at a nearby facility. Of course, you do have to make an extra stop on your way home to retrieve your parcel, but at least it's protected. So those are a few ideas of ways to protect your parcels just ahead of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Millions and millions of people will be shopping online. If you live in a neighborhood where packages seem to be mysteriously removed off your porch, you may consider one of those 4 options. And if you want to hear them again, you can listen to this show on demand as a podcast on all your favorite platforms like Apple, Spotify, Amazon Audible, TuneIn Radio, iHeart, and so on and so forth. Or you can find me on social media, send me a note, and I'll give you these tips. I'll link to my USA Today article on this topic if you like. It's Mark Saltzman, MarkSaltzman, and I'm on X, formerly Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Again, it's Mark Saltzman, or send me an email, marksaltzman.com. All right, as we wrap up another episode of Tech It Out, I wanted to give a shout out to Intel, the title sponsor on this program. Thank you for your support. Last week, Intel announced its new Intel Core Ultra 200S series processor family that will scale AI PCs for desktop platforms with all the big PC makers that you know and love. The result is a cooler and quieter user experience, elevated by new AI gaming and creation capabilities, enabled by the AI PC. Again, look for Intel Core Ultra 200S series processors that deliver up to 50% faster performance in AI-enabled applications against competing flagship processors. More info is at intel.com/AIPC. Again, that's intel.com/AIPC. And then finally, and speaking of computers, I wanted to plug SanDisk and Western Digital. If you don't use external offline storage to back up all your important files, I would consider it. You don't need the internet for it. You don't have to pay a subscription fee. You can buy inexpensive yet high capacity and durable drives, whether it's a solid state drive, a hard drive, a USB thumb drive, or even an SD card or micro SD card. SanDisk and Western Digital have decades of experience. There's a lot of trust there with their devices. There's no point in buying storage if you don't trust the company and their products. Lots of sales this time of year at sandisk.com or westerndigital.com. Both Western Digital and SanDisk drives, by the way, include software that lets you do things like automate backups, like every night at, say, 3 in the morning, whenever you're probably not using your devices, it'll automatically make backups to the drive out of convenience for you. There's also encryption software. So if it's a portable drive, if you lose it, let's say you left the drive in the back of an Uber or something, no one can access your files. So it'll password protect your stuff. So that software is already there, which is really great. Again, sandisk.com and westerndigital.com, or go to your favorite big box store like Best Buy or Costco, whatever. They always have sales. Cool. All right. Thank you for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the program. We first spoke with Alen Palander, a celebrated and renowned photographer, about how he leverages AI PCs like the Intel-powered LG Gram Pro. We then shifted gears and spoke with NETGEAR about cybersecurity, how Gen Zs differ than baby boomers in its recent study, and what you need to stay protected. And then before I talked about how to protect your parcels, we also spoke about golf simulators with TruGolf. Hope you enjoyed the show and all the guests we had. Have a great week ahead, and I look forward to catching up with you next weekend for another episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.